McCracken Fiscal Court meeting, March 11, 2019. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Here.
Commissioner Parker.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
And Judge Clymer.
Here. And let's see, do we have anyone leading us in the prayer?
We do. We have Brother Bud Russell from Highland Cumberland Presbyterian, and then we have Troop 200 from Lone Oak United Methodist Church doing our flags and colors.
All right, great. Reverend, come right over here, please. Stand for prayer, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day and this opportunity we have to come before you. You tell us in your word that our elected officials are ordained of you, and they're ministers of good, and they're agents to protect us and watch over us. And so, God, we want to first of all thank you for that. And then we want to thank you for what they bring to the table, their wisdom, their experience, and their willingness to serve. And so, God, I pray you'd be at this meeting in a way that will bring you honor and glory and good for our community, and help us, Lord, to always be good at doing the things that will bring you honor and also serve our community well. And whatever you do, we'll give you praise for it. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. And Scott Troop's going to lead us in the pledge.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of our colors. Color guards advance. Please join me in the saying of the pledge of the national anthem.
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, post your colors. Scouts, please recite the Scout Oath of Law. Scout Law. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Color guards retreat.
Great job. Thank you, folks. Y'all remember that oath?
Yeah, I did. It's been 60 years, but I remember that.
60 years. All right, then we got some items on the discussion agenda. One was changes to the website.
Minutes first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I pass? I did pass the minutes. Have you had the opportunity to look at the minutes?
Move we approve the minutes.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Second, opposed, no. We'll approve the minutes then. Now, discussion. Changes to the website. We are in the process of updating our website. We've got some good people working on that, and even have some really strong volunteer folks with the backgrounds in marketing and in website construction. And then we also later in the agenda have a order about to approve hiring a professional outfit to manage, to oversee the website. But what I've talked with Greg Cannon with our planning and zoning. He's very knowledgeable about these things, but we needed to hire someone as well to help us get through that. But I thought it important, and again, we'll have a order later that can be addressed to go forward with this. But our website's pretty good, but we are McCracken County, McCrackenCountyKY.com. One thing we want to do, and I think with, of course, your approval, is to change to McCrackenKY.gov. Gives us a more legitimate government status, and then proceed with various changes to make our site look more professional, that sort of thing. Any other discussion? Anybody have any comments at this time?
I've got a question. If we change the from com to gov, will we keep the .com for a while so that people are used to going that, or will we keep that permanently?
Yeah, Greg, if I understand right, the .com will just go to .gov. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to keep the .com and have it forward to the .gov site.
So if they did .com or .gov, they would still get the website?
Yes.
And do we plan to keep the .com permanently?
We have not gone that far in discussions. I would recommend keeping it permanently, but we're not to that point yet. We don't have to make that decision.
I personally think it'd be a good idea to do that, because if somebody else got a hold of that, we could become
our original website.
we could become a pornographic website. I mean, and you just never know what somebody might do with it. So I would, because it doesn't cost much to keep that domain going, I would recommend that we. What are we paying now, or is it all being done by volunteers?
I don't know. We pay anything presently?
Right now, we've got the yearly maintenance to keep the domain name, but the actual work, the updating, that is myself and Vicki Potts doing the updates on the website.
So really, a lot of this is a one-time. I mean, except for the web hosting has to be updated every year. Most of this is a one-time fee.
Yeah.
And once it's all set up, you'll be able to.
Right, and the fee that you've got in front of you, that's actually predominantly for a plug-in, and what it's going to do is going to make it easier for us. No one else is going to see it. Vicki and I will be the only two people who will actually see it. It's on the back end of things, but it will make editing the website much easier. It also helps eliminate any potential issues, because you can see before you hit save and publish, you can see what it's going to look like.
Okay.
Which right now, that's not the easiest to do.
Any other discussion? All right. Then we've got a Wendy Baxter, who's here from Sullivan University, wanted to address us just a moment. Ms. Baxter?
Hello. I just wanted to come by just for a very brief minute. I brought you all folders and information. I think that was probably distributed earlier to you all. And my name is Wendy Baxter. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions and Community Outreach for Sullivan University. Sullivan College opened back in 1962, so we've been around for a long time, and then we have switched into Sullivan University. We have campuses in Louisville and Lexington, Fort Knox, and then we have learning centers. And so we just opened our third learning center here in Mayfield. Sullivan University is accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, which is the same accreditation that University of Louisville, UK, Murray all have. We offer diplomas in associates, bachelor's, master's, and we even have doctorate programs available now at this time. Currently, we are helping students with online degrees. That's kind of the way that things are going, it seems, for us. And there was some holes left when Mid-Continent closed, as some of you all know. So we're trying to help those students finish what they started as well. So we're working with those guys. We're in the office 5 days a week. Either myself or my administrative assistant is there. So we're just trying to help people finish what they've started. We are giving 25% off to anyone that lives in the Jackson Purchase area, so that really helps with tuition. And so we're just here to say hello. If there's ever anything you need from us, please reach out. I've been working with the mayor as well, and just trying to get out into all of my 8 counties and say hello and let you know that we're here. So that's all I have, just a very brief stance. Like I said, we have tons of online programs, and that's where we're kind of pushing to help right now. And we have a huge computer lab there in Mayfield, so if anybody ever needs help, we can help them fill out things there too. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate you coming. And then we have Commissioners Bartleman and Jones wanted to report on the Commissioners Conference you attended.
Yeah, we went to the County Commissioners Conference in Louisville this week, and it was a pretty good conference. And we saw a lot of things. We had a lot of discussion, and Commissioner Jones and I thought we might update you on it, and I'll make comments, and you can just break in whenever I either make a mistake or you need to add to it. One thing we did, we were able to have a small group meeting with the governor. We were invited to a meeting. There were probably about, 30 people in there or so. And it was a pretty good, open and frank discussion with the governor. He knows where Paducah is. We might sometimes complain he's not down here enough, but he knows where Paducah is. He knows about projects that are being worked on down here. He was encouraging that for some projects that are ongoing with economic development. He was encouraging that he was at least from a 10,000 foot level, he was up to speed on those, and indicated that they're working hard. He reminded us the final decision is always with a company that's making a location, but again, he was engaged, and I think we were confident that his economic development cabinet is engaged in helping to recruit for our area. We also had the opportunity to sit with him at lunch, at the lunch table with him, and had some interesting conversations. It was kind of very informal. We really didn't discuss a lot of state business, but we did learn how to put air in a tire. It was just kind of a strange discussion.
I already knew.
And we learned how to change a battery in a car from the governor. I mean, he was very engaged. There was one of the occupants at the table indicated that she had her first time experience of putting air in a tire, and she explained what she did, and the governor just kind of shook his head and told her she didn't do it right. But anyway, it was an interesting discussion, but it was a good informal interaction with the governor, and he knows where Paducah is, and hopefully he knows who Commissioner Jones and I are when we have conversation with him in the past. I think one of the takeaways from the conference is that it's been a reality for many years. We're going to have to pay more in the retirement fund. It's going to cost us more money. It always has every year, but the next couple of years, it's going to increase significantly. And it's a reality. If you listen to the radio in Louisville on the way up there and back and while we were there, they're increasing taxes by $40 million or some large figure, saying that they were surprised to learn about the amount it was going to cost in increases in the retirement fund. Well, I don't think we're going to be surprised because we've been aware of it for a long time. But we have to really prepare for that, because when the legislature either finally acts or doesn't act, it's going to cost us a lot more money. Another thing that kind of relates to that, our deputy judge executive said when he worked for the county government some 10 years ago, there was about a $6 million surplus in county funds. And now we're down to $2 million or less, so that's going down and down. And the dilemma we face in having to pay for increased costs in the retirement fund is really going to come to roost. So if we aren't careful in how we run county government and spend money, we're going to be facing a shortfall in a few years, and we want to avoid that. Again, as part of that, we were constantly reminded on the county's legislative agenda of county governments. I think we do a good job of McCracken County in identifying projects that we want from state level, we want to fund highways, we want to fund different things, school expansion, things like that. I think one thing we learned, we have to really, and I think the county fiscal court needs to do that sometime this year in preparing for the next legislative session. We have to identify some maybe less issues that are not quite as on the radar screen for the general public on some of those issues. For example, they talked about one bill that was moving through the legislature that would help reduce, or it would set some standards for setting bail for inmates who are charged with misdemeanor crimes. And that too often counties are paying high expenses. The county has to pay the expense of any county inmate who's not a state inmate and not been indicted. I think we heard of an incident even in McCracken County where we have an inmate who has been charged with shoplifting. They've been in jail, how long?
About 90 days.
They've been in jail for about 3 months. And the cost for us to incarcerate them is a lot more than the amount of goods they took from one of the local department stores. And we have to get cooperation of judges to set bail or no bail so some of these people can get out and help reduce our cost. The jail is one of our most expensive items. In general fund money, it costs, I think, about $3.5 million a year out of just the general fund. The total cost is about $7 million, but about a half of that has to be paid from county revenue. So we need to do all we can to help reduce costs there. Another thing we had discussions on, and we had a meeting with some different people, is investing surplus funds that the county has, and they're not surplus, but they're money we have in the bank. Some counties are getting pretty good income because of the funds they don't need to pay everyday expenses. They're getting pretty decent interest rates on and raising some substantial amounts of interest for the county revenue. I'm not suggesting that we stop dealing with our local banks. We have a lot of money that passes through to pay day to day, but there is some money that sits in an account for 6 months or longer that we could get higher interest rates on to help cover some things. And there were a lot of other things that we talked about. We had several sessions on that we went to on different kinds of insurance that is provided for the county. And we probably need to take a look from time to time at all of the insurance that we have, health insurance and workers' comp, and take bids and proposals to see if we're getting a best bang for the buck. And I hope we're able to do that this year to be able to do that. Again, I think it's important that we just take a look at what other counties are doing. Commissioner Jones really engaged with a lot of, every time we sat down at the table with somebody from another county, he engaged in some issue that we share, like 911 is a major expense issue for every county. And for McCracken County, it cost us about $500,000 a year just for operating the 911 system. And that's above and beyond the amount of money that's collected in the landline tax. The landline revenue goes down every year because people are getting rid of landlines. So we're going to have to find a exchange for a different revenue source on how to raise funds for that. And if we can find something that will pay for itself, that'll save us $500,000 a year, and we'll be able to do other things, with that money. So we have a lot of issues on the table. We talked about another county about a recreational facility that they built for $3 million. That seemed like it was a pretty substantial facility they got for that amount of money. And I hope at some point we can take a visit to that community to see what they did, to see if we could replicate that here and do something here in cooperation with the city. But it was a good conference. All these conferences that I've been to, that I've always come home with something valuable to it. Again, sometimes you learn more at the dinner table, or you learn more out in the hallway waiting to go into the next session about things and what you do sitting down hearing a formal presentation. But I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go to those sessions, and hope we can go to more. Commissioner Jones.
Well, I'll just add that the takeaways I took from that is that the governor and his economic development team were engaged in efforts to promote our local economy. They were very aware of our issues and our property. And they were very engaged in seizing the advantage of the opportunity zones, which are a recent initiative of the Trump administration, and we are fortunate to have 2 of those opportunity zones on the north side of our city. And the tax advantages that could come from investing in the opportunity zones, I think, will play well for us if we promote them. And I'm certainly aware that the city has, I guess, engaged a marketing crew to help in that effort. So I give them kudos for that. But it was a good session. Thanks for letting us go.
Sure. I sound like it was. Yeah. All right, and let's see, we're going to have down in the orders here shortly, first reading of the ordinance concerning the TIF program. Is there any need for any discussion about the TIF? We'll get to that here in a bit. Okay. I'm told we have 2 gentlemen that wanted to address us. Let them come on and either welcome to stay or leave, either one. I know it's riveting. It's riveting for you. But, and I forgot one of your names. Mr. Scott is one, and what was your name, sir? Come on up and I think they wanted to speak to something about the flooding and how things went. And what was your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Myron Scott.
Myron?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm not real good at this. If I did, I wouldn't have to get my hands dirty every day at another job, so I'll just be as brief as I can. First off, I had a discussion with Mr. Doolittle this morning. I commended him and whoever had a part in opening B Branch at Husbands Road Saturday, because it made a significant difference. We didn't have that cooperation back in 2011, and we were pretty much told we were scum in 2011. We live in a floodplain. We don't live in a flood relief. The pump that is behind Duck Creek Campground, there was 8 of those during 2011, and they wore us out. And they can say if it's a minuscule amount, they can say I saw the comment, it's a thimbleful in Noble Park Pond, but if it's not any more than that, keep it over here, you know. But when you put that kind of water over there on people that are already suffering anyway, and for me, it's morally wrong, and I'm not so sure it's legal, because it was pumping off a private residence or private property onto other private property, and it was doing that in 2011. We had absolutely no cooperation whatsoever, and I appreciate working with the city and getting in B Branch open, because it made a world of difference just from Saturday to Saturday night. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I go to church with a guy that is on dialysis 8 hours a day, and he was out of his house living in a hotel. I saw him Sunday, and he said it was just it was unbelievable how much water went out of there when they could hold it there. We were told 2011 that pump station 11 was fine. I was told that there was mechanical problems from somebody else. So there was a lot of controversy then, but I do appreciate the cooperation with it, and I hope we can work with it more often. And as we go along, hope we'll never have to fool with it anymore. I'll be honest with you. But it is a situation to where we fight it. I was fine this time, but we're fighting it hard enough as it is. We don't need somebody else's water. So.
Maybe the thing about the campground there, you said something about pumping. I believe my understanding is we had one pump in there pumping over the flood wall into the area you're talking about. And I'm told, now I'm not a floodwater guy, but I'm learning, getting up to speed. And what I'm told and what I believe is that there was such a small area there around that campground that we were pumping that water out to keep that from flooding, but the surface area across the flood wall that we're pumping into was such a vast area in comparison that taking that little bit of water from the Duck Creek and putting it into a very large pond or a very large lake, whatever you want to call it, resulted in negligible rise, if any
in
at all.
somebody's opinion. Yeah.
And then about the, and you said, question the legality of it. We're going to explore, I'll just tell you.
Okay.
I was asked before this flooding began, do we want to put a pump in there? And because we'd done it before, and it is a private campground. And it was, I think, like 3 days before we knew that was pretty well knew that the flood, the river was going to take that campground and put those people at risk. And I said, since we've done it before, let's do it now. I don't want to pull the plug on them with the flood coming in 2 or 3 days. And so we did that. But I'm going to talk to these gentlemen and others and see exactly why it is we're doing that in a private campground. And I think there may be changes in the future. My understanding is those units that are in there are supposed to be mobile. I drove through there a few times to check the water myself to see how it was, and I know that some of them are not. Some of them are built in, and some of them seem to be even like cabins. And so we're going to have a discussion about whether it's appropriate for this government to be pumping out a private campground. I used to have a camper up at the lake, and I knew when the water got a certain level, it was a private campground. I had to take my truck and go pull my camper out like everybody else did, tie my dock off with a chain so it didn't float down the river, and my deck rather. And so, we're gonna look into those things.
Well, the thing of it is before there was pumps on the other side of 24. This one was on my side, what I call my side of 24. Mm-hmm. And if you walk down that flood wall, and I did the other day. I know I wasn't supposed to, but I did. You didn't hear that. But if you walk down that flood wall and you can see that ditch that comes right by my house, it's pumping right over into that ditch, and that water's got to come by my house. And I had plenty, but it didn't affect me. But I had plenty, and we know where we live, and we'll take all the water God can give us. But that's all we want though. And
you don't want our extra.
Huh?
You don't want our extra.
No, I don't want any extra. No.
Okay.
But the thing of it is we know where we live, but we're also, our tax rate is the same as that man on the other side of the flood wall. Yeah. And we feel like we've been done right in 2011, and I feel like we're getting a little bit of cooperation right now. Yeah. But I still think it needs to stop. So.
Yes. We're going to look at it. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Now, what was your name, sir?
Charles Copeland.
Charles Copeland.
I live out on Oaks Road also, and I've been communicating with Mr. Doolittle. And I know you're going to check in to find out if it's legal or illegal to pump water over the levee. But Mr. Murphy kind of does what he wants, is the way we see it out there. Just like me asking Mr. Doolittle a question, and I also asked Matt Carter, can they not open B branch and relieve pressure out there? Oaks Road out by Bonds, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that area or not, but Saturday morning when they opened B branch at 7 o'clock, it went down 2.5 feet off of Oaks Road where you could drive down it in a matter of 12 hours. If they would have opened that 3 or 4 days earlier when Island Creek was empty, it would have relieved a lot of people out there of a lot of water. When I purchased my property, I wasn't in a floodplain. After 2011, and he introduced all that extra water over the levee, now Mr. Scott's in a floodplain. He was not before. Now I'm in a 0.2% chance of annual flooding. How can they rezone it floodplain if all that extra water was introduced over the flood wall? How can they come in and rezone that as flood area after they created a lot of the extra flooding?
You're talking about pumping off of Duck Creek into...
This is not just Duck Creek. It's in 11 when they pumped. They had, 8, 10 pumps running 24 hours a day for about 3 weeks straight. I mean, what they're telling you is they're saying is a minuscule amount. When you're talking 10,000 gallons an hour times 10 pumps for 21 days, 22 days straight, that's not a thimble in Noble Pond.
I think I don't know, Steve, what do we have, the 6-inch pump over there?
Well, he's talking about 11.
Yeah.
This year, we had a 6-inch pump that ran intermittently from Sunday afternoon until Thursday.
I believe you informed me that it ran out of fuel a few times.
Yes, so that's why I said intermittent.
Yeah.
Didn't run 24 hours a day, and it's a much smaller pump.
Was it a diesel pump or a gas pump?
Smaller flood than 11, too.
Yeah, we were 2 feet under what we had in 11 as far as the total water in the Paducah area. And I know they had the emergency meeting and said that if they opened B Branch, all that would do would be recirculating water. Well, that's not the case, because when you're coming from B Branch all the way across Paducah to Pump Station 11, which has 4 pumps in it, and 3 can run at one time with a 4th as a backup. In 2011, they showed us a printout of all 4 pumps running continuously at the same amp load on all 4 pumps. But the action plan says that you can't do that. You can only run 3 with a 4th as a backup. Well,
I'll tell you, sir, I'm trying to get myself up to speed. There are others that know this, and I've heard Rick Murphy, and I know Rick Murphy's been at it a long time, and I tend to, and he's got a lot of experience with these things, and others that sat there and listened to the same thing and didn't dispute, and it was that if you open...
If Mr. Doolittle has all my information, if you'd like to sit down one day and look at some maps and discuss it, me and Mr. Scott would be more than happy to sit down with y'all.
Well, I'm trying to discuss it with you right now for just a minute, but what Rick Murphy said was that, just what you said, that if you open that B branch before the water drops to a certain level, that you are just recirculating the river. You know, he's supposed to be the expert. I take him as the expert, but I'm hearing what you're saying as well. We're going to look into that and see what.
Well, if you're pumping from B branch, if you open B branch and it flows through Island Creek, B branch is here, the pump's here. You pump into the river flows south. It's not running back uphill and coming around in a circle like he's trying to make you believe it is. Okay. I've been in the marine industry for 28 years. I know the river and how it flows and how water works. Okay. So, I mean, you know, but he doesn't want to listen to what anybody else has to say. And I believe your email this morning, Mr. Doolittle, said that they were going to open it at 49.5 was when they would reopen. They went ahead and opened at 50.4. And we've seen that much of a dramatic change out in that area in a matter of 12 hours.
Well, I'd be surprised if you could attribute all of that. The river was dropping as well, so.
But that's my point about B branch. When you open B branch and it runs through Island Creek and it pumps out in the river, if it would recirculate at 49.5, if it would recirculate before it reached that level, then why did he open it at 50.4 and it make that big of a dramatic difference out there? So I don't think you're getting the whole story.
Well,
so anything you can do to help us, we'd appreciate it.
We'll sit down with Rick and try to get the whole story, and maybe I'll have him talk to me real slowly about how all this goes.
Like I said, anytime you want to sit down with a map, we can show you anything you want to show.
All right.
Be more than happy to.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Let's see, we have was there anybody want to address any of that? Where we're going? We've got a first reading of ordinance coming up here shortly. Was there any discussion we want to do? It's about the TIF. We'll have the reading here later in the agenda. Any discussion before that?
No. Not for me.
All right. Let's see. Then we have a budget transfer, Madam Treasurer.
It is ordered to make the following cash transfers in the amount of $291,094.06 in order to pay county bills approved March 11, 2019.
All right. We have a motion for this?
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's approved. All right. Accounts payable.
It is ordered to approve the vouchers claims register from February 25th, 2019 to March 11th, 2019 to show county bills in the amount of $645,021.88 were paid.
All right. Motion.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, then we have, well, let's see, yeah, here's the court order on the
TIF.
TIF. Yeah, so, Madam Clerk, you up? You got your,
I'm ready.
up for it? Okay.
If y'all are ready to listen for a while.
Yeah, I'll sit back and listen.
All right. It is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the reading of ordinance number 2019-03 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. Commonwealth of Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2019-03. An ordinance making certain findings concerning and establishing a development area for economic development purposes within the city of Paducah, McCracken County, Kentucky, to be known as the Downtown Riverfront Development Area. Approving a local participation agreement between the city of Paducah, the county of McCracken, and the city of Paducah Finance Department, establishing the process for administering the plan, establishing an incremental tax special fund for approved public infrastructure cost and redevelopment assistance, and designating the city of Paducah Finance Department as the agency responsible for oversight, administration, and implementation of this ordinance and the special fund, authorizing the judge executive to take such other appropriate actions as are necessary or required in connection with the establishment of the development area. The action taken by the present ordinance is authorized by Kentucky Revised Statutes, Section 65.7041 to 65.7083 and 154.30 through 101010 to 154.30 to 090. The present ordinance enables the county, in conjunction with the city of Paducah, to take all action necessary to establish a special fund that will contain funds generated by the pledging and transferring to the fund of a portion of the real property tax revenues and occupational tax revenues by the city, county, and state. These funds will be used to reimburse the financing and/or upfront cost of the downtown riverfront development area. The anticipated results of this development endeavor include mixed-use retail and restaurant space, additional hotel rooms and residential buildings, as well as the construction and renovation of public buildings that will provide meeting, entertainment, and educational space. It is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points of and contents of ordinance number 2019-03. Ordinance number 2019-03 shall be available for public inspection in its whole and complete form in the McCracken County Judge Executive's office during ordinary business hours.
So moved.
Second.
Let's see, we've got this certification and public inspection to do. Let's, if you don't mind, we'll include that in there with it too. Go ahead and do the certification, public inspection, then we'll do the motion.
She read that.
I did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, she read all that. Yeah,
I must
she
have been absent for a minute there. Okay.
I
So we
can't
got the-
imagine such
the
entertaining
motion.
reading.
All right, we got the motion in the second. Any discussion? No. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right. All right. That carries. All right, then, got a number of orders here. Start with, yeah, Jameson.
Well, I just noticed the codified, you could just, you want to move them up? Or can I
Okay.
get to them as we get to
Yeah,
them?
we can. They're, yeah, they're on back in here somewhere, but let's, who we have here from Codify then? Yeah, Ms. Belak?
Monica?
Yes, I'm from Sprocket.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we are going to partner with an organization called Codify, a business incubator. So have all of you been to Sprocket? You need to come. And also check out, and check out Codify.
Didn't get that invitation. Y'all forgot me.
Well, we didn't like you, but.
We have another one for you soon, so.
What'd you say, Monica? I'm sorry.
We have another invitation coming soon, so we'd love to have you out. Either way, so the idea, what we need to do right now is, as an organization, we have been asked to submit a letter of intention to create a business incubator or an accelerator. This will be with high tech, so technology-based companies and entrepreneurs. And we're wanting to do the project in conjunction with Sprocket, which is a nonprofit. And Sprocket's mission is to basically be a catalyst for education. If you're familiar with the Innovation Hub that's going up over at the Paducah Public Schools, that'll serve about 5 school districts. We were part of that, and we're actually part of that pilot. But we also, as we started doing that project, a lot of entrepreneurs actually became very engaged with us, and so we started doing a lot of entrepreneurial development. So as such, we are a catalyst for both high-tech education, because we basically do a lot of our work with technology companies, and building workforce is really important for that industry. It's one of the fastest growing emerging industries in the world, basically, and so keeping up with workforce is very, very difficult. So we teach things like coding and programming and 3D design and print and things like that. But also to then have that workforce go straight into industry. So that'll be our relationship with Codify. So we basically do a lot of the education element, but we needed that partnership with the people who actually create the businesses. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what we'll be doing. We're going to build out about 8,000 square feet of space. And the state, the Office of Economic Development, specifically the Office of Entrepreneurship, has already awarded us our operational funding. We got that about 4 months ago. And so now we want to go for the pot of money that is actually capital investments. And so they will actually match our dollars 1-to-1. So whatever we put in, they put in another dollar. So it's a really amazing opportunity. Codify the group that we're going to be working with that does actually build tech companies. And they're in Cape Girardeau. They've been doing this for about 4 years. They have a really good proven track record. They've created over 140 jobs. They've got over $11 million in just venture capital funding, and have already launched 44 startups. And that's in 4 years in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. So we like to partner with them. They're very interested in coming here. And then they actually are applying. They've been asked by the federal government to apply for a grant called I-6. And so this is through EDA, where they will actually infuse another $100,000 into our project in just educational programming. So this will be teaching adults and older youth programming and coding skills. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity. It's a very minimal entry for us all. I mean, it's about a $500,000 investment is what we're looking at. We'll have then over $1 million project from that. And so we're asking for a letter of intent.
And as I understood it, there's a matching grant. So
yes, the state is matching us.
Jason Rainey, which his
yes,
group.
And that's through. It's called RISE. The initiative is called RISE. This is our second initiative to do with the state. So the first one, which was with the Innovation Hub, which was strictly workforce and education, that was actually the first initiative the governor launched. We actually went straight for that when we found out about that. So that's actually one of those initiatives that just came out of this Bevan's office. So this is the second one, and we want to actually, this is more for actually building businesses, and so we want to actually be involved in that as well.
I understood there's $8 million available total pool,
Okay.
of which we could
Yeah.
get $500,000 if we get our ducks in a row in a
We
hurry.
need to earmark it. We have our application ready. All we need is letters of intent from local government that you would be willing to help us get the funds together. And that may be through other grants that we're going to seek out together, or it may be funding that you already have. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter where the funds come from. It just is important that everybody says they're on board with the project.
Our community has to raise $500,000 in order to get $500,000
Correct.
from the grant.
Correct.
And time is somewhat of the essence?
It is. Yeah.
But the letter of intent's just saying we're willing to help, it's
Yes.
not guaranteeing.
Correct.
That's right.
We'll come back.
So, well, I know we'll probably come back several
With
times.
specifics,
You got the
yeah.
letter in there, if you see it.
I guess my question is, when a hub like that, when you get a company and they're ready to come out of there, is there any return on our money, or we're just giving away $500,000, or? I know we're getting workforce development out of it.
You are, and you're getting businesses starting in your community. So one such business that they just started is called Cargo. So they are a software-based company. They basically help other companies who create software. And so anything you do on a computer uses software,
I read
right?
up on Cargo.
So you know what I mean. So they kind of have a good growth ability just with that particular industry. But they created a. Are you guys familiar with Uber? Okay, so they have a mid-size Uber that is now in 6 different communities. They just launched it about a year ago, and they've already pushed it out to 6 other communities. The payroll tax on that was over $1 million in just their first year. So they have 400 drivers at a time, and then you just calculate that. So you're actually helping your community. You're actually putting people to work. Not only that, but you're creating businesses. So it's a really unique and interesting group of people to work with, because they're thinking very differently. They're thinking very much as a tech-based society or digital-based economy would grow. So they're growing as that economy grows. So it's very unique. It's very different economic development than in a traditional sense, like get a manufacturing company and come in and start making something. It's actually making something that scales globally. So whatever technology company I create, it doesn't have geographical boundaries. So I can have people working on it, and even though people aren't buying it in our community, we're still making money. So it's actually a really interesting model.
One of the interesting things I took away from the tour was that they had a program in which they would give an individual grant to a company who was going to start up if they positioned their startup in our town.
Correct. And we actually want to go ahead and engage them before we do the build out. And that's part of we have the funds to do that. So we would like to go ahead, do a contract for services with them now, so that this summer they have a program called the First 50K. And so they actually recruit 2 companies to come into the community and start their business. It's an international competition, so you could be recruiting companies from all over the world. They've been doing this for 4 years now, and so they've been very successful. You basically have milestones as you dole out that first $50,000 for that startup company, and see it. And everyone has the benefit of it actually growing, right? Because it's going to actually feed your community, create more employees, and so forth. So that it's highly competitive. You get really good companies that come here just for that. So you get a really different mentality too. It's not maybe an old seasoned company, but it's these younger kids who are actually starting to build in technology. So it's great.
We had an opportunity to discuss it with Dr. Reese and the community college, and they were very supportive of the project.
Yeah, Dr. Reese came out and took a tour as well, so everybody's been pretty receptive. Once we get the full package together and have all the details for you, we're working on all our performers right now. We have we have all that done, and I guess we're about done. We just need the letters to just say, yeah, we approve. We like the idea, let's go ahead. And of course, we need you to come and take a tour, but.
Well, I want to appreciate, thank you and your crew for the work. I think you're helping us think smarter and better. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions?
I have a question. Does our letter of support, does it need to be from the judge or does it need to be from the fiscal court? Would it be more effective if it was from the entire fiscal court? I think we also.
Yeah, I think that would actually.
Because the draft of the letter now we have just said that the judge signs it as I am writing to express my support. Would it be better if he said I'm writing to express the fiscal court's support? Would that be a little more effective? If it was the entire fiscal court, not just the judge?
I was told that that's generally the way it's done, is that as the judge executive representing the fiscal court, that the letter comes from me, but if you prefer to be from the all, and it does say McCracken County's willingness, but
I just want to make sure that the letter has the biggest impact it can have.
Appreciate that.
It might not make any difference to Brian when he reads this. I mean, it might not make any difference.
Why don't we put maybe we put a provision in there that says that we unanimously, assuming we do here shortly,
Right.
unanimously support as a fiscal court, or supporting, maybe that.
Yeah.
that-
Again, I have no problem with it this way. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure but if you might want to say instead of I, say the fiscal court or we,
Okay.
or whatever.
Okay, all right, we'll dress it up a little bit.
All right, thank you.
That's coming up in an action here.
Thank you, Mike.
A little bit later. We've also got, Ms. Brown, did you want to address, we're going to do a letter of support for Lotus as well. Are you here just to?
Just taking through any questions.
Okay. All right. That's on, that's item W back in the orders, where we're going to provide Ms. Lotus a letter of support if everyone is in agreement. And I guess the same concern might come up. Make sure that it reads that it's from the fiscal court and not just the executive. You don't have any questions you don't want to ask about the renovations?
I think it's a great thing.
Don't need to bring her up then? I think we're all sold on you pretty well.
See you at Men Who Cook.
I hope to see all you.
Maybe I can get them all to work for me that night.
Maybe we'll see. All right, now let's see, let's get back on to item B. Let's see, is that where we are?
B.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yes, go ahead.
It is ordered to pay the McCracken County Humane Society $18,125 for the month of March 2019.
A motion?
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered to pay the fiscal court clerk $50 for the month of March 2019.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to approve the monthly distribution to the McCracken County Conservation District for March 2019 in the amount of $2,446.92.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Yes, sir.
Could we have somebody from the Conservation District come to our meeting and kind of brief us on what they use those funds for? And I think I know what they're designated for, and I get calls every once in a while from people who want those funds to be used to clean out portions of Clark's River. And could we have them come to the meeting and at some point explain?
Yeah, we'll put them on. Invite them. I'm sure they'll come if we invite them.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Okay.
It is ordered to approve the McCracken County Clerk's monthly ad valorem tax collection and distribution report for the month of February 2019 in the amount of $666,353.46.
So made.
Second.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered to approve the McCracken County Clerk's monthly alcohol license report for the month of February 2019 in the amount of $837.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to approve the McCracken County Clerk's monthly deed transfer tax report for the month of February 2019 in the amount of $17,859.52.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to approve the McCracken County Clerk's financial statement for the month of January 2019 in the amount of $114,020.40.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to approve the county clerk's summary report of delinquent tax collections and distributions for the month of February 2019 in the amount of $16,394.67.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that effective February 25th, 2019, Chase Jones be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that effective February 16th, 2019, Deputy Jailer Chase Byram be promoted to Corporal Deputy Jailer at a rate of $13.25 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that effective March 11th, 2019, Tyree Owens be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So made.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that effective March 11th, 2019, Martin McElroy be hired as a part-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $14 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered written bids were requested for a tractor with boom mower for the McCracken County Road Department. A bid was received from Hudson Inc. The bid was taken under advisement.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that the bid for tractor with boom mower for the McCracken County Road Department be awarded to Hudson Inc. in the amount of $129,417.97.
So made.
Any second?
I've got a question.
Yep.
Did we send out notices to other vendors or just Hudson? Do you know? Yeah.
I know we placed an ad, as required by the statute. I don't know how many. We did have multiple bids, for those. So I don't know if we individually notified potential bidders. We've, of course, met the minimum requirement of advertising.
So this is for Randy's.
Yes.
We did have multiple bids though.
You're gonna have to refresh my memory. For one of
Yeah,
the
I didn't-
The pump truck, or the pump trailer, I think there were 2 bids.
Was this the one we just had?
Yes.
It says here there was one bid.
Oh, here we go.
There was 1 bid for the tractor and for the,
Yeah, we only had one bid on the tractor with boom mower from Hudson Inc. And
the other.
we had something else that day
We
too.
got the pump trailer, we had 2 bids. for
Yeah.
that.
We had 3 bids on that one.
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
we check state bids to see how this complies with state bids? You know?
I don't know.
Because sometimes the state I'd like to buy from Hudson because they're,
Local.
it's kind of regional, but they're local, but if we, I just don't know if we.
I wonder if we could defer this until Randy could present. Is there a reason we need to get it tonight as opposed to 2 weeks from now?
Well, we put out an advertisement for bids as required. We received the bids. I don't know that.
I don't know what else you could do. I mean,
I guess
you
my
just
question
put
is
the
whether
advertisement
there's
out.
a state contract. Is this on the state bids, and it was a state bid competitive or more or less? I know when we buy police cars and dump trucks and everything, they all look at the state bids along with.
You don't know the answer to that question. You're right, it possibly could be more or less. What is time sensitive at this point is this is a primary mowing piece for the spring coming up, and there was lead time on this item. And so there may be some reason why the 2 weeks could create an operational issue for us in April when grass starts growing.
Well, I think we ran it in the paper and we've already bid it. I mean,
Right.
and I understand what you're saying and I agree with you, but maybe we need to be a little more attentive in the future. But I don't want to hold these guys up if they need this to, like you said, I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff being put on order now and everybody's in a hurry to get their mowing ready.
Well, I don't. I mean,
I guess just the logic, man. What if the sole bid was $1 million? Would you know? I mean,
I think we probably over it. Probably wouldn't like that. But
I'd like to know more about it, but I don't want to hold anybody up.
I move that we pass over item O till the next meeting.
I'll say.
any further discussion about that? Let me ask Sam. Do we see any? We advertise for bids. Other than, I guess, whatever urgency there might be, or are we? And we only received one. We only received one bid for this. One offer for this request for bid. So, can we now reopen? Is that what you want?
No, I'm not suggesting that we bid it again. I'd like to know whether or not we checked if this is on the state bid contract. And number one, and if it is it more or less on the state bid contract? And I'd also like to know, I know sometimes notices are sent out to vendors because sometimes if there's not a in-town vendor, they might not see the published bid. I'd like to know that and then just come back to the next meeting and just answer those questions.
I guess in my mind, if the guy's bidding on something, I mean, my business, I bid on stuff all the time. I stay competitive. I mean, I don't throw a real high bid out there. I think I've got other people that's going to be bidding against me, whether or not they do. But we'll do whatever.
I just like those questions to be answered if we could get an answer.
Just like Randy to tell me that that's the right value and that's a good value. Or I'd like somebody to tell me that's a good value. And I guess maybe I should have asked over the weekend, but I didn't.
I believe we think it's a good value. It was within budget that we established for the project. We get budget for this, so when we made that estimate for budget reasons, I think the research indicated that this was a reasonable price, and we wouldn't have brought it forward if we believed it was crazy unbound. So it's not to say that there isn't some vendor in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky that isn't offering that for less money.
Well, because we've had this happen, I think, in the past where we've only had one and they weren't satisfied with the bid. So we've just submitted it again. So I kind of like you, I feel like everybody thought it was okay because there have been times that they thought it wasn't, when we only got one bid.
When the vendor bid, he had no way of, or he or she had no way of knowing how many bids we were going to receive because they were sealed bids.
Well,
I just would like to pass over till we get those questions answered. I mean, that's the only reason. I'm not against the purchase. I know we need the equipment. Randy made a good argument for why we need that, and I'm not opposed to buying it. I just want to make sure that this is a good bid and it's the best we can get.
And you did say it was we only received the one bid on this, on this
We
item.
bid 2 items at the same time, but multiple
Right.
bids on the other piece of equipment for the road department.
Yeah.
And just the single bid on the tractor.
All right, so any more discussion?
We got quite a bit more to go through. Can Steve step out and call Randy and see?
I can't.
Well,
We'll come back to it
How's
tonight.
that?
Yeah,
I just want to make sure we don't get in a time buying on equipment they need.
I think I'd be satisfied. Well, I don't know. I'd be satisfied with just having someone tell me, yeah, we've looked at this, we know we only got one bid, but this is a fair price.
And timeline too.
And I'd also like to know if they check the state bid list.
I'll ask.
Okay.
I bought a truck
If you're all
before,
right,
I've never
it's your
bought this
motion. If you're all right, we'll just pass it on in a minute.
I'll withdraw the motion for now because we're going to pass over it right till we get the answer.
Yeah, and then we'll come back to it here.
Okay, for now, I'll withdraw my motion.
All right.
And Eddie, you withdraw your second?
Yeah, well.
Okay. I mean, I may
Okay.
offer that motion again,
Okay.
but for now.
All right, so we'll go on to P then.
It is ordered written bids were requested for a trailer-mounted culvert cleaner for the McCracken County Road Department. Bids were received from Brown Equipment, Scruggs Equipment, and 502 Equipment. All bids were taken under advisement.
So made.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the bid for the trailer-mounted culvert cleaner for the McCracken County Road Department be awarded to Scruggs Equipment in the amount of $52,268.
I have the same question on this, whether or not we check the state bid and whether or not this is on the state bid contract. I'd like us to ask the question on this one too.
Okay.
I know we got 3 bids and that's probably good, but, you know, when there was, anyway, I'd just like to make sure that it's still not more than what the state bid would be, if it is on the bid list for the state.
Let me
Motion
ask,
second on that one.
let me ask, was there a second?
Did we make the motion
to pass on it then? Is that what the motion is?
Yeah, well,
I
I mean,
just
just
read
pass
it.
over till we get that question answered.
Well, I mean, I read where the bids were taken under advisement, but all I did was read the order, but we didn't,
You haven't read
taken
Q
up
yet.
yet.
No.
Yeah.
I read it, but we haven't,
Haven't.
y'all haven't voted, made a motion and second and voted on it.
So you're making a motion just to pass over it and let Steve check with Brandy on that?
Yeah.
See if the state second on that?
Again, I'm not trying to be an obstructionist, I just want to make sure that we're
Okay,
getting our best bang for the buck on these.
well, we're okay with just passing.
Greg,
come
you're
back.
gonna go ask him to, yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
come
Greg.
back to
Item
it.
Q too, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So we're going to R.
All right, yes, ma'am.
It is ordered that effective midnight on February 28, 2019, John Hayden resigned his position as detective with the McCracken County Sheriff's Office.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
What happens when we vote this down?
He has to come back. They're gonna jerk him back out from Graves County and put him over.
Maybe we may do him a favor. Some of,
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
No answer at this point.
No answer, okay. Maybe we'll get something here in a little bit.
It is ordered that Jeffrey Hartman be reclassified from part-time certified court security officer to full-time deputy sheriff effective March 18, 2019, at an annual salary of $33,000 less statutory deductions. It is further ordered that Jeffrey receive a $1,500 training stipend.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that David Clark be reclassified to detective in the sheriff's office at an annual salary of $50,462.65 less statutory deductions effective March 16, 2019.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that the change in the domain name of the county's website from www.mccrackenky.com to www.mccrackencountyky.gov is approved at an annual fee of $400.
So made.
Second.
Let's see, from McCrackenky.com to McCrackenCountyKY.gov. Is that what we're doing? I thought we were doing.
The federal .gov rules require for all counties to have county in the name.
Oh.
Our two options were McCrackenCountyKY.gov and McCrackenCounty-KY.gov.
Oh.
Everybody likes to sound better without that.
Well, I hate that. I was hoping we could keep it as simple, McCrackenKY.gov, but it's got to say county in it. Because otherwise it might be, I don't know what it'd be. Anyway, we've got about it.
So I'll move. We approve that.
All right.
I've got a question.
Yeah, go.
And we are still maintaining .com, right?
Yes.
And when does that expire?
I'm not sure when that one expires, but it's still set currently to automatically renew.
Okay. And I think, I mean, I don't know if you have to come back or not, but when that comes due, I think we also should maintain that domain name and have them so they go back, so it goes to .gov.
Right.
Yeah, we've discussed that, so Greg and I have discussed that.
And you'll check that and make sure we don't lose that domain.
Yes.
Okay.
And this approving this does not require us to drop .com, does it? I mean, the way it's worded, I think we're okay with it, but I want to make sure that
We can have as many as we want.
This order here is simply to pay the $400 to get the .gov website.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that the county judge executive is authorized to negotiate and enter into a contract with Zebra Graphics for a one-time charge of $1,255 for updates to the county's website.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
Wait a minute.
This is what we talked about earlier, right there.
Okay.
Yep.
This is going to make us more mobile.
It's going to make my life easier.
Okay.
It's going to also help make sure no mistakes go out. That's the big thing.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered that the county judge executive is authorized to sign a letter supporting Lotus, formerly PASAC, in their renovation process.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is it a letter or a resolution? I thought I saw a resolution here on that.
No, I don't think it's in there yet. I don't think I've done the letter on Lotus yet. It'll be very similar in wording to the
Yeah, there's a
one on-
resolution here on Lotus, right here.
Huh?
We don't have a letter, we've got a resolution.
Well, yeah, there's a resolution as
Yeah,
Y.
it's
Okay,
As item
in
Y.
Court Order Z.
okay.
Wait a minute, let's see, that's 911.
Again, this letter just supports.
Oh, it's Z.
It's Z.
Yeah, it's Z.
Yeah.
So we've got a letter and we've got a resolution.
Neither one of which are going to cost us money.
All right.
Okay.
Well, not by virtue of the letters or the resolution, but,
Okay.
Okay.
but we may be headed down that money road. So, let's see, this is on the letter. I lost my spot where we were here. Lotus, it was W. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
All right, can we go back and let's get, he's got his answer now, let's get those two out of the way.
All right, you got an answer on the
Yes.
bids?
So first on the tractor, the price that we got from Hudson was approximately 1% less than what the state contract pricing was. the reason Hudson knew about our bid is because we approached them about purchasing a tractor and what they could get it on state contract for. And so they made that comparison, and we advertised, and the price they provided us was 1% under what the state contract pricing was. The situation on the trailer was it was not on state contract. We called around looking for this particular type of setup. We found through research, we found 3 different ones. None of them were in Paducah. We advertised, and then we did notify those vendors that we had a bid open, and they all 3 did bid on it.
But we only notified Hudson. We didn't notify any other vendors on the other one, other than I know it was advertised, but there was a personal notification of Hudson, but not any other vendors.
Correct.
But then it was followed with a bid. An advertisement for bid is required.
Right.
So what we did, we contacted Hudson to say, can you beat the state contract price? They said, I guess at that time.
I don't know that we knew. I don't know exactly what conversation took place, but certainly we got the idea that they would at the very least be competitive with what the state contract pricing was, and they underbid it.
Okay. So I don't want it to be like we picked out Hudson. What, as I understand this bid process, of course, we didn't have to contact anybody at all. We could put the advertisement out, but it was, I guess, sort of like what you were talking a while ago. Let's check, see what the state contract price is. We learned that, but we don't know if we could find a bid less than that. We find somebody who says, I guess they indicated they would be at least competitive with that, and so we, instead of just buying it on the state contract, we advertised for bids, and then Hudson was the only one who bid.
Yeah, and I guess they knew we could always buy it off state contract, so they were able to beat that price.
And what I've learned is about the state contract, we don't know, or maybe we do, we often don't know from where we're going to buy that piece of equipment. It might be anywhere in the state, and often is up in the Triangle, or far from here. And I think that we give, where we can, some deference to the local people, because we, they're local people, and we generate some.
They pay local tax dollars.
I agree. I'm satisfied with that explanation.
I am too. I just want to make sure, and any bid that's under the state contract is going to be probably a pretty good bid. So,
I would think so.
Yeah.
Of course, then you'd have with a I don't know what size tractor this is, but fairly good size at $130,000 with a boom mower. There would be some transportation costs to get that.
And we did purchase, I think, some police cars that we paid slightly more than what the state bid was, but the reality was we saved money by not having to travel to pick it up, and if we have problems, we take it 2 miles from the courthouse to be repaired. So again, I'm satisfied. I just wanted to make sure that
I'm thinking those cars were cheaper locally, those 5 Durangos, but we could have gotten them more quickly from somewhere in Illinois.
I think
that's what that was. And the sheriff was in somewhat of a hurry to get them, but we decided we're going to take this cheaper. I think Linwood is where we got them, and they were cheaper. They just couldn't get them quite as quickly as the Illinois supplier, and we're in Kentucky and they're in Illinois. That helped grease the
I think
wheel.
you're right. I think that was the scenario.
Yeah.
And
Could have gone under the state contract, but it would have been a little bit more. We'd had to go to Lawrenceburg or somewhere to get money to run it.
And in that scenario, going back, we picked the local supplier then as well.
Right.
So can we go back to?
I'm sorry, I appreciate you answering the question. I just
Sure.
want to make sure I appreciate you checking on that. And I appreciate your indulgence to delay the vote.
Yeah,
But we can go back.
but we're all good now.
Go back to O.
Back to O. Okay.
It's already been, a motion's already on the floor. And then we move in second O.
Yeah, it's just, is there a motion second on O, just so we know?
Well,
that.
I just had a motion from Jeff.
Now,
Oh, you did? Okay.
We never seconded, but we
Right.
started discussing, we said we're just gonna wait, so we need, I'll make that motion again.
I'll second it.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Then we got, where was it, Q?
Q.
So moving on Q.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right. Well,
And I appreciate your indulgence.
Sure.
I'm sure we were.
now, where are we? Anybody know?
X.
X. Okay.
It is ordered that the county judge executive is authorized to execute a letter to the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development in support of Sprocket Inc., Co-work and Business Accelerator Project for Paducah, Kentucky.
So moved.
Second.
And you see that letter is in the
Right.
packet. Everybody good with
That's
that?
one if you want to.
That's the one we're gonna,
Right, there's a little bit of editing to make sure it's
Okay.
the expression of the fiscal court.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that.
all right. All right, then, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, that carries. Would you like, I think what I'll do, I'll edit it a bit, and if you'd like, I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay.
If I don't hear back from you,
Yeah.
we'll send it out then, okay? All right, now on Y.
It is hereby ordered that resolution number 2019-02 be passed, representing the official action of the McCracken County Fiscal Court in recognizing and stating the intent of the court as it existed on July 1st, 2016, and as it has been approved and adopted as the continuing intent of the fiscal court as of the present date as to the following. Number one, that the Paducah McCracken County Emergency Communications Service Board be terminated and abolished as of said date, contemporaneously with the expiration and termination of the interlocal agreement with the City of Paducah giving rise to the same. And number two, that McCracken County transferred and or assigned its interest and authorization to information access via the link/NCIC terminal to the City of Paducah so that such information could be provided to county personnel by the City Department of 911 Operations pursuant to an emergency communications agreement.
So made.
Can you explain, is this just catching up on something that wasn't done previously that should have been done?
I'll second it so we can discuss it.
Okay, got a second.
But I'm interested
You
in
want
those
to
answers too.
address that, Steve?
Yes, a number of years ago, when the county chose not to renew the interlocal agreement, it triggered a response from the city to give them 6 months' notice of the intent to disband, and county didn't respond. Essentially, nothing happened. We have turned into just a customer of the city 911 service, and so as they're dealing with the issue of the NCIC terminal, they wanted to document to the state police really a bit of a history lesson of what happened and make sure the county didn't have any claim on the system so that the city had operational control of it. I don't think that we won't see any outward changes to our service or how the sheriff interacts with 911 or the system.
This is just a formality to reflect what actually took place.
Yeah, I think the city is trying to document to the state police the sort of what happened and where we are right now. It really reflects our current practice with 911.
Well,
Is this retroactive to some date when we
I
actually?
think there are, it mentions the dates in the resolution as to when those things
I don't
happen.
think that resolution was in our packet, was it? Oh, yeah, here it is.
It mentions when those items
Right,
occurred in
okay.
the past.
I remember reading it now, yeah, okay. Thank you.
And is this time sensitive?
Extremely time sensitive.
I've been with the mayor a good bit talking about the ins and outs of all of this, and with Steve as well, and trying to get this set up and addressing what's really a rather dire situation for our emergency communications system as well as equipment, and some of that's going to be brought up in our joint meeting. What's that, Tuesday, I think?
19th, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going to get into that quite a bit then, I think. That's going to be one of the primary purposes of that joint meeting, is to try to get our heads together. We'll have a lot of information by then. I read a 170-something page engineering report and understood about that much of it. But with working through it.
This language that says we've transferred or assigned our interest and authorization in the information, I mean, is this a permanent assignment if somehow we aren't able to come to a deal that we like? Have we given up something permanently?
No. It really reflects what has already occurred in the past when there was a joint board, the fiscal court appointed membership, the city appointed members. There were a number of ex officios, and they had the control of the tool. When the boards took their respective action to disband it, this is documenting that we gave operational control and relinquished our control of that particular state police tool inside the department. Matt's not here this evening, but it's really reflecting what has already occurred in the past.
And I dealt with Stacy and researched, I actually wrote the resolution, so I can answer any other questions that you might have as to the legal import.
I guess I could say it reads like a deed, and I'm trying to imagine a situation in which we got to claw back, and is there language to claw back, or do we need clawback language?
What actually arose is the Kentucky State Police had received an audit request. Part of the audit request was to ensure that any recipients of the state police maintained and oversaw Link/NCIC system were authorized recipients of information from that system. So McCracken County Sheriff's Department, as part of the Paducah-McCracken County 911 board that once existed, once it ceased to exist, then McCracken County emergency responders needed to have emergency services, emergency communication, and our deputy sheriffs needed NCIC. So we were entitled, our emergency responders were entitled to get this NCIC information, but we didn't have anybody at this time to provide it to us. So we had to reach out to the Department of 911 Communications through the city to do so. But before the city can provide information from NCIC Link, they have to be authorized via our transfer of our interest to receive the information. Is that?
They're basically operating our link.
Right.
Okay.
They had to utilize our authority to receive that information. We had to assign them that authority. And as a local law enforcement agency, we don't lose that authority. We just had to assign it to the entity that was going to be our provider.
Would there be any harm in putting language in here that said this assignment and transfer is effective until December 31st, 2021?
Well,
I know we're all envisioning something bigger and better, but I'm just...
Yeah. Well, as far as today goes, this has to go through. Because if this does not go through tonight, then we're subject to potentially having some pretty significant consequences on our officers' ability to communicate. I mean, this is something that the KSP is like, hey, we need this. We need to know that McCracken County intended the contract to cease at the time it did, and in order to provide the communication that you needed, you intended to give the authority to the city just to give you information.
Well, you have my attention and my vote, but I'm wanting to I guess I just want to make sure that we don't set ourselves up into a situation that we can't ever reverse this.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
You know, I talked to Stacy in great detail about this and what the actual need is that's being served by that language. And, you know, the McCracken County Sheriff's Department is not going to at any time lose the ability to receive information via NCIC link. We just had to give it to a organization that was a department of the city, not at that time oversaw by the chief law enforcement agent of the city.
Okay, maybe.
So that was the gap.
All right. On your advice, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Anything else on that?
Does this affect any negotiating tools we would have with the city to develop a comprehensive 911 system? If we give them this, do we lose part of our bargaining power?
I don't think it has any effect on that.
I don't know that it, you know, truly, we're assigning the right that we possess to a third party in order to serve us for a compelling governmental interest, governmental reason. And by doing so, we're not relinquishing that right. I mean, we're always, McCracken County is always, as a law enforcement agency, going to be able to get that information. So I don't anticipate any effect at all, much less a negative effect.
And bottom line, this was the intent of what we did in 2016. So,
and we've operated upon that intent
yeah.
since then.
Any more discussion?
I'm good.
Ready to vote?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries. Thank you, Sam. Z.
It is hereby ordered that resolution number 2019-03 be passed, representing the official action of the McCracken County Fiscal Court in communicating its full approval of the renovations planned to be carried out upon county-owned real property by the lessee of such property, Rape Victim Services, Inc., DBA Lotus, and the granting to Lotus of express permission to commence the renovation process as of the effective date of this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to record the employee claims from January 27th, 2019 to February 26th, 2019 in the amount of $16,588.39 for HRA/FSA transactions.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries. We got board appointments, a couple.
It is ordered to approve the appointment of Randall Bogus to the Hendron Fire Board effective February 27th, 2019 to fulfill the term of Russ Galloway expiring June 30th, 2021.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries.
It is ordered to approve to appoint Buddy Upshaw to the Joint Sewer Agency effective March 11th, 2019 and expiring March 10th, 2021.
So made.
Second.
No discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Good appointment.
Carries. Now, we have on for an executive session, the executive session would be to, let's see, was it number 2 and number 4, proposed or pending litigation as permitted by KRS 61.8101C, and number 4, issues which might lead to the appointment, dismissal, or disciplining of an employee as permitted by KRS 61.8101F. There's a motion to so move into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And ladies and gentlemen, don't anticipate taking any action from when we come back into general session from the executive session. You're certainly welcome to wait around if you'd like, or if you prefer to go home. You could do that too. We're just going to come back in and enter into general.
Did you include real estate in one of our reasons?
Real estate. Is that one of our reasons we need?
I'd like to add that reason to our.
All right, so also a discussion regarding future sale or acquisition of a specific parcel of real estate is permitted by KRS 61.8101B. All right, we'll step into executive session now.